Alright, so does anybody have any questions or comments or anything? Or is everybody just numb because it's Monday? I get it. Okay, so we will go into hang on, it'll come up eventually. Okay, let me get the headings. Okay, let me make sure. Let's see. Go into here. I'm going to check and see where. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to try to do is, I think we've kind of touched on it, and I think I'm going to make my way through three-dimensional and then into this principles of moments. And then Wednesday I'll go back and work a bunch of problems. But so I'll jump. I think I can jump from chapter to chapter. I think it may make me come back to this table of contents. So there's nothing new if I say, we've got some of the forces in the X, Y, and Z. This is the only thing that gets added. And so what happens here, actually I may end up doing one problem anyway today. You just have, whoa, that's super big. You have forces in 3 dimensions, and believe it or not, it's easier than you think. You get all the way through it. There's some video to look at if you want to. And then he goes straight into this. Let's see. I'm going to jump through here and end up at a problem. Since he's worked those already. Well, now this one looks pretty good. Maybe I'll do that one. But okay. So let's see what he has. He said, it's a 40-pound crate, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to want to know the force in all those cables. So I'm going to do it the short way, and then I'm going to do it the long way. And so, believe it or not, I'm going to go ahead and now, some people might like this, some people might not. Okay, I know I have, and I'm going to call them all tensions. Tension A to D, tension A to C, and then tension A to B, and then, believe it or not, I'll go ahead and do tension L for the tension of the load. And I think he said it's 40 pounds. So if I do this, okay, sum of the forces in the X be one equation, sum of the forces in the Y be another equation, sum of the forces in the Z be the third equation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I don't know which one of these to take first, so I'm just going to take, I don't know. I'll take the easiest one first. Unit normal, AD. And then I'm going to take the unit normal. This one's the easiest. These two are the easiest. This one and this one are the easiest. So I have a little hand in the way here, but let me get it out of the way. It's the Y. So he's got this thing listed as the X and the Y, and up here it's up at the top, but this is the Z. So I'm going to take a look at this one first. The unit normal going in this direction only goes out the X, so I have a 0, 0, 0. Notice the unit normal associated with the X is this, so the X component here is 1. The unit normal in L is going into minus Z, 0 and 0. This is a very strange way of working it, but what you find is you do all this other stuff, you end up here. If you understand the structure this stays the same all times. So, I don't know, if you feel more comfortable putting a lot of stuff on the page, that's great, but as you put it on the page, you end up there. I don't know what the best thing to do. For me, and I'm trying to do this, I'll do this and then I'll go through it individually. So the TAC is the next one. And so what I've got to do to support this, I've got to do the vector from A to C. Okay, so I got to look at this for a minute. I may erase this little vector and put it back, because what I'm thinking about doing, I'm gonna go a spot at a time and try to get to C. So here's the X coordinate, here's the Y, and here's the Z. So you could say this is the Z component, this would be the X component, this would be the Y component. So obviously I go backwards. Looks like 3 feet. I go 4 foot, doesn't look to scale. And actually, I should put a minus sign here. Hang on. Okay. I put a minus sign here because I'm going, and I gotta equal minus. There you go. Minus 3 plus, and then what is that? 8. Okay. Now, to make my life a little easier, oh, he's got a, what in the world did he got down here? Oh, it's a string trimmer. Okay, so RA2C would equal to minus 3, 4 and 8. Just out of curiosity, norm RAC. Oh shoot, it doesn't turn out to be a very nice setting, but UAC will equal to RAC divided by the norm of RAC. So I get these numbers. So in other words, UAC would equal to minus, well here, let's write down the definition first. RAC over the length of RAC, meaning I have a vector that goes in that direction, but it's unit length. So it becomes minus 0.318I plus 0.424J plus 0.848K. I forgot what this thing is. I think it's 40 pounds. So I think this one, yeah, there it is, 40 pounds. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'll put that, I'll take this, I'll list it UAC, okay, think I'll have room. Actually, it had zeros at the very end, so that's convenient because I don't have to write as much. I think it's interesting that one's twice as large as that one. I don't know that that means anything, but let me get my picture back. There's my picture back. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up after this one, which was TAB. What's funny, not hilarious funny, but AB, basically go up here, here, and then back that way. So you're going backwards this, so you look the same, minus 3, minus 4J, plus 8K. And so I'm pretty sure, I'm going to put it in the computer anyway. 424J plus 0.848K. And so I get minus 0.318, minus 0.424, and 0.848, and UAB. I wrote that. I should not have written that. I should have written this. UAB equals to RAB over the length of RAB, which does equal this. So let me make a correction, kind of. My brain just cut off and on there momentarily. Sorry about that. So, on the first one, okay, so I'm associating this, okay. I should have written this down here. So let me do that, because then I want to use the top area. Okay. And then UAB, so I'm just copying this down so I can erase this and use that upper area. So it's the length, it's the vector over its length, and then I get minus 0.318 I minus 0.424J plus 848K. Now with that, I can erase this and use this upper area. So it turns out, if you look at this, this is TAB column, this is TL column, this is TAC column, and this is TAB. So since they're listed here, all I do is I write, this seems weird, TAB. This is 40. So that one's already 40, it's specified. Now this looks weird, but I'm going to show you what happens with this in a second. And then you have TAC and TAB. Now technically, the way I've written it, sum of the forces equals 0, 0, 0. Now it seems strange, but this is 3 rows by 4 columns in a matrix that is 4 columns, 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, by 1 column. These have to match, and you get a 3 by 1. If you want to try that in MATLAB, you'll find that that always works out the case. Now you can sit there and there's 2 ways you can do this. One is to extract out the 40. Multiply 40 times this. In other words, rewrite this equation. And it may take a minute to kind of see this. So I'm going to try to go a little slow. And then we're going to go look at the way he did it. I'm going to exclude this one and this one, and I'm going to take this one, and this one, and I'm going to move this one out of there. And it may seem a little strange. Give me a second while I copy. And what I've done is, okay, TAB, TAC, and TAB plus this times 40. So I'm going to write it like that. 40 times 0, 0, minus 1. So what we've actually done, so the way you do this now is TAB times 1 plus 40 times 0 plus TAC times that number plus TAB times that number equals that number. Do it again, and you do it again for each of the rows. So the force X, Y, and Z gives you 3 equations. It actually has 1, 2, 3 unknowns. This one is actually known. If you don't know the way to this, you can't solve it. And so he gave you the way, so you have this. And so what you actually have is an equation that is sum of the forces in the X, sum of the forces in the Y, sum of the forces in the Z, all equals 0. But you got this applied load, so you just move it to the other side. And here, I'll just say this is equal to that, and then you get this. TAB, TAC, and TAB. Wait. I repeated myself. Wait, TAD. Okay, so I hope that didn't confuse you. I copied that one down wrong. This one should be TAB. AD. I copied it down the wrong there. That's bad for me. Okay, I hope that didn't confuse you. So, TAD is that one. It's the T. So in essence, if you look at this whole equation, here's what you see. It's really weird. You see TAD times UAD, a vector, plus TL times UL plus that times that, TAC times UAC plus that one, TAB times UAB. All equals to 0, 0, 0. So essentially you took your vector number, the scalar value times that gives you 3 components. This one times 3. Well, this one we know it's actually 0, 0, minus 40 because it's pulling down and Z goes up. So that is the 3 components there. This one we don't know, this one we don't know. So if you look at what this is TAD times a scalar value times that vector. Scalar value times that vector. Scalar times that vector. And scalar times that vector. These are unit vectors. They're not base vectors. They're unit vectors that you list. And we will see in a minute as we scroll up that this is the structure you always get. So now I've moved it to the other side. Now I'm going to solve it after I fix my B to a D here. And when I move this to the other side, I get nothing, and now I get 40. And now let me enter this and this and this. And here's the beauty of MATLAB. Okay, so give me a second here. Okay. So it's kind of off the screen. So let me see if I can get this back on the screen. So right now I have UAB right here. I found UAB. Wait a minute. Let me bring back the picture. Okay. Let me make sure I listed these right. Okay. What I did over there, I mistyped it in MATLAB. What I found was the UAC. I found this one. So let me fix that in MATLAB. So in other words, this is RAC. Notice I did that, RAC. And then I said UAB. That is not the case. So this needs to be changed. Okay. Okay. So I fixed that. So it's the mistake in MATLAB. So in other words, this, all fine. My mistake was I mistyped that in MATLAB. That should have said UAC. So I fixed it. Now I'm going to go actually find UAB, which will go back to RAC, and we put a minus sign there. Because from our picture, go up, go here, and instead of going this way forward, you go that way forward. So that's why this ends up with this. So what I've written here is okay, what I've written here is okay, what I wrote here is okay. What I typed in MATLAB, I flipped. So let me fix the UAB now, which will be this one. Has a minus component going that way. And I did that. So now I'm going to do this. Okay, UAC equals to RAC. Yes, divided by norm of RAC. And lo and behold, you get the minus sign, you get the same value here, here, and here. Now the easiest one on earth is UAD. And I'm just going to write it down. UAD equal to 1 and 0 and 0, right? 1 and 0 and 0. Now, if you listed all these, here's the thing about it. Here are the three things I need. Okay, so if I look at this, what I have first is UAD. Then I have UAC. Then I have UAB, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to try to stack these vertically. I have them horizontally. It turns out in MATLAB there's this funny operator that's just like if I wanted to flip that UAD and put this little funny thing there, it's like, what is that? Well, in other words, it's not a double quote, it's a single quote right there. So if you do that, that's what they wanted to see to transpose it. There are other languages that'll do a T, UAD, and it'll transpose it that way. I don't think MATLAB has that. I could try it, but I don't think it has that. I may be wrong. Yeah, see, it doesn't know what that is. So the little apostrophe will transpose it. So believe it or not, let's try this. I'm going to do something really weird. U, A, make sure I got them right. D, transpose with a space. U, A, C, transpose with the space. And U, A, B, transpose with the space. And, okay, yeah, I was about to say, I was looking in the wrong place, but yeah, this is the place and this is the place. So, I see the 100, the minus, and there, I'm sure on the computer there are more digits here. And this, did I type in? Oh. Wait a minute. UAC and UAB. Did I get these flipped? Let's see. UAC. I may have gotten these things flipped. Let's bring up the drawing again to make sure I didn't have this thing flipped. Okay, now when I get the drawing up, the other part disappears. Okay, so TAC is this. TAB goes backwards. Did I flip them in MATLAB? I may have flipped them in MATLAB. Let's see. UAC, for example. Okay, UAC. It looks like I did. I flipped those two backwards. UAC and UAB. So I have those flipped backwards. Believe it or not, it'll still get you the right answers as long as you flip those. But I have it on the board a particular way, so I want MATLAB to match that. But let me see, what did I do wrong? You can go back up here to RAC. I have RAC being 3, 4, and 8. I wish I could get the drawing and MATLAB up there at the same time. Okay, 3, 4, and 8. Okay, so I go down here. You got to be kidding me. I did RAC, then I did RAC again. That is not supposed to be. See what I made? Does that make sense? I can't believe I did that. Okay, let me fix this. Good grief. Okay. Now, I have RAC. I go there. Okay, so I just typed in that one. Now, I'm going to type in this one. God. Okay. UAC. UAC. Yes, yes, and yes. Now, R-A-B, not C. R-A-B. A-B minus 4. So that should say R-A-B right there. Luckily, I think, I can use the back arrow. Fix that. Bang. Now, looking for, do I not have a R? Wait. Well, you know what? I'm just going to change it. B. Now, we'll go back to our matrix now. Okay. UAC, this, and this. UAB, this, and this. And 100. Okay. Now I've got, so this is the matrix that I need to invert and multiply times the right hand side. So what I'll do on that is just call it right hand side equals to, and put a bracket, and I'll say, 0, 0, and 40. 0, 0, and 40. Notice I'm putting semicolons here. That will make it go vertically. And now, you know what? I should have named this so I could invert it. It just has that. That's named the right-hand side. I need to come back and call that like the K matrix or something. Capital K equals to that. Now I can do invert K times the right-hand side. Now, what he says, I get 15. Okay, so this is the answer that he comes with. 15 23.585 and then 20. Okay, well that makes sense because those two went exactly symmetric. And now it turns out that this TAD, TAC, TAB equals 2. So let's now go look at the book, and what I might do is drop the screen and we'll go through what he's done. First we'll check our answers by going and looking at the book, and okay, I got to scroll down with the mouse apparently. Free body diagram, there's his free body diagram. Okay, equations of equilibrium. So there he does. Here, let's go look at the answers first, then we'll go back to his method. Okay. Okay, so here's his answer. 15 pounds, 23.6. So we get the same answer. His FD, he calls his the last digit. He doesn't have the A. And he calls them F instead of tension. So D, C, and B. So B and C are 23, and the other is 15. Now, so we've got the right answer. So let's go look. Let me drop the screen somehow. Is this how you do it? Yeah. And we'll go look at his method and just go back. I guess it starts right here. So I'll make it bigger. So the first thing he does is he figures out B. You know, he finds, it's kind of funny typeset. So he figures out B, FB. So he goes -3. Okay, so it depends on the way you want to go. I guess I'll go down the X first. -3, and then -4, and then +8 gets me to B. That's that vector. Takes the length of it, gets this. He gets FB times it, notice. Now, interesting thing about this is you could take that out of the whole thing, and, well, gosh, I wish I had the board back now. It's hard to manage all this in this way. So, that is actually just the FB. Hopefully in a minute he combines them together so we can see how the matrix would form. He's going to do that again for C, and there he does. So he does it for C. Now C actually is this, back 3, the other way, out the Y, this way, and then up 8. So he gets the same thing. And notice what happens. These are the components of the unit vector, and that's just the value of the force. So you can take that force FC and just write it out on the right side. Then you get FD. That one's pretty simple because it just goes that way, and so you just write it like that. And then you get the weight of -40K going that way, the opposite. And then what he does is he adds, well, he doesn't have on the page, but he has FB, FC, and FD, and W. Okay, so he writes them as a complete, this is actually a matrix equation. Even though it doesn't look like it, and then he just writes it all out, But in fact, let's look at this term by term, this thing that he's got term by term, and compare it to what we've got. And we'll just get the screen out of the way in order to do that. Again, the structure stays the same all the time on these, whether it's 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. So I tell you what, we'll sacrifice this little part, and here's what we'll do. We'll just say some of the forces in X, some of the forces in the Y, some of the forces in the Z. Now if you look at the structure of this, we'll start here. We put our base vectors there. And let's look at the structure, okay? So the thing is, this is the X. So imagine every one of these terms, it's going to have a coefficient with the I stuck on it. Does that sound right? I guess that sounds right. So let's try to find those. Now, I wish I would have looked ahead and used the FB and the FC and the FD as well. But you have to just replace in your mind these with my tensions. So let's look at this. We take this times, in his case, FD. See if we can find it. Then we don't have to do anything here, but minus 0.138 times FC. Here. And then the last one of minus 0.318 FB. And there's no more I's. There's no I's. None of these have an I component. So in fact, this one, and this one are the first row. Oops. Now let's take the second row. The second row, you could say I or J or K. Those are all associated with X or Z anyway. So you have minus 1 times the 40. There's your K. Oh, wait, I was going to do the second row, sorry. I'm going to do the second row. The second row is nothing but 0.424 times, in his case, FC. Here, the squares will be like that. It'll be a square. Minus 0.424 FB. And you see that's it. There's no more. What's left is only K's. Okay, the last one, and I'm sorry I jumped on that, but that's minus 1 times 40. So here we'll make it squiggly. And then 0.848 times FC. There's a squiggly K. And then 0.848 FB. So you see every one of those are picked up. But if you start doing this over and over and over, you start seeing this structure always appears. It also is helpful because, to me, it's helpful because you compartmentalized already how you find the unit vectors. Now you're compartmentalizing the sum of the forces X, Y, and Z. If you see the structure always generates a matrix like this. Now, it should always be boilable down or reducible down to a 3x3 times 3 unknowns times stuff that moves over to the right hand side. And that's pretty much it. So in fact, his structure that he created there is a 3x3 matrix. It doesn't look like it because it just looks like and then he says equating the respective IJ components into 2 0 yields, and you slide it down, and lo and behold, what do you got? Oh, it's kind of in the way, but here. What do you got out of it? You got, I guess I don't need that anymore. You got what is, first row there, there's your FD. Now my TAD is his FD. FC is this one, and FB is that one, and then this, and then of course that's the last one. And those are 3 equations and 3 unknowns. He never identifies this vertical nature of the basis, but not the basis, the unit vector. I keep getting those saying those backwards. He never identifies that you're stacking these unit vectors vertically, and you're basically putting these this way. If you put this on the right hand side, you're summing to 0 every single time. You get this lone 40 pounds that ends up going to the other side, but the structure of the matrix makes it so that it can be extracted, then moved over. If you begin to think like this, then you go take linear algebra for one of your, is it a math elective or, anyway, it's an elective. And you'll be surprised when you go through that course, if you do decide to take it, how simple and how much it relates back to everything you do in engineering like this, especially circuits. Now see, I don't know, he may not present things this way because, in a way, maybe there's an assumption you haven't had that yet or something like that. But anytime I see where there's something that always generates a matrix, you might as well put it in there as a matrix. Now in this case you got 3 by 3. In circuits you could have like 10 different loop equations, you know. So you could have a 10 by 10, 20 by 20, 30 by 30. Believe it or not, in structures you can have more of these. If you start getting into trusses, which we will eventually, and I don't do trusses in matrix forms because I probably should, but it's already complex enough to just go through the 2 methods, and if I had an extra week I would do that. But if you've got, think about what you just did here. What you just did is you had one free body diagram in which you found 3 forces. Now let's say you weld or put some pin joints together to hold a load, and you got this. Well, you got, let's say, call this member A. Force in member A, force in member B, force in member C, force in member D, force in member F, and force in member G, and force in member R. For some reason I didn't want to follow the alphabet. So in fact what you'll get is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these. And you know, and it turns out you'll get a 7 by 7 over here, and then you'll get your forces, and then you'll get you've got to have a load on it, otherwise all the forces are 0. So somebody has to put a load somewhere, and you can actually do that in a matrix form. So I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, we can work more problems, but we're close to the end. Let me just do some scrolling through here. Oh, I guess that's it, maybe. What's the next thing say? It's just another example. Okay, so each one of these has a complete example. Fundamental problems, and then should be this, after that it'll be like full-blown problems, maybe. Problems, it's just stated as problems. So what we'll do is we'll come in here and you can start seeing, they're all kind of the same, you know. Not geometrically the same, but structurally, you know, what you've got is 1, 2, 3 unknowns, because you got 3 equations, and then a load. 1, 2, 3 cables, and then somebody's pulling on it. 1, 2, 3 cables, and somebody's pulling down on it or something. One rod, another rod, and then a cable. And one cable, 2, 3 cables. 1, 2, 3 cables. There's a reason he doesn't have a fourth one, because if you had a fourth cable, you are stuck with a 3x3 right now. So if you ended up with the fourth cable, and I'll just fill this gap in, let's just say somebody had another cable attached over here. The problem there is you've got 4 unknowns and 3 equations. Now, you might think, oh my gosh, it's unsolvable. But it is what's called statically indeterminate. It's not unsolvable. What the heck is that? WebEx videos. Okay, statically indeterminate, but not indeterminate. In other words, how you would determine that is each rope is essentially a spring. And if you knew the spring constant of each of those springs, you can actually solve that. So, and that is, how do you find the spring constant? You go take mechanics of materials. I think it's MOM or 3413 maybe. I don't know the number, but you have to take that after this course. If I were you, I'd just get done with this course. I mean, just take that course, because there's several in the LEAP that you need to get through those. So, and that's how you solve it. You basically come back and say, think about this. Maybe this is solid steel, solid steel, solid steel, and rubber band. Then this is not going to carry much load. It'll just flex around. So change that to steel and change this to rubber band. And suddenly you find this is carrying a lot of load and this is not carrying much. And so pretty soon you say, hey, wait a minute, if that's the case, then there's some sort of functional relationship between that spring constant and how much load this is given for a complete deflection. So in that, you won't get just the force, you'll also get the deflection, like how far, after you loaded that with a bunch of dirt, it dropped a little bit. How far did it drop? So you'll get not just the tension, but you also be deflection. So if this is rubber band, you may find that thing goes like that, and so it'll be, that it's interesting. It's so just because something's statically indeterminate means it is not indeterminate. It means you progress in your academics, and then you say, okay, statically indeterminate, but it's determinable. And, so for right now, for the purpose of this course, it's not determinable, but in reality it is. So when you read that, he'll talk about that in the book. That's not a, oh, I can't solve that kind of thing. Okay, I talked too long. And I don't know who was, I don't know what, I don't know. Oh, there's some kind of meeting. Oh, what kind of meeting is there? Here is a meeting that may be of interest to you. It is the Arkansas Ecosystem Data-Wide. Okay. When is the meeting? Don't tell me the meeting started.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. What do I do? There's so many things on here. It's just meetings and stuff like. I can't even keep up anymore. So now how do I find this person? I don't know.